Good evening to you. You are welcome to News Tonight here on GHOne TV with me, Natalie. For a look at our top stories. Coming up tonight, Chairman Wontumi's lawyers take battle to High Court, seek reduction of staggering 50 million CD bail set by Yoko. Also coming up, President John Dramani Mahama warns of dismissal for Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executives who failed to make good use of District Assembly common funds. Still ahead, from promise to struggle, traders at Iron Cities decry low patronage after relocating. In business tonight, relief at last for consumers as fuel prices set to drop from June 1. On the international front, Hamas offers to release 10 hostages in exchange for permanent ceasefire. The details of these and much more news here on News Tonight Tuesday. You're watching News Tonight here on GHOne TV. We bring you the details of our top stories now, starting off with the arrest of NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Entry-Boesiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, by Yoko, which sparked a dramatic political showdown as minority MPs stormed the Yoko office in protest, accusing the government of political persecution, while former Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia expressed frustration over the party's inability to access its detained Ashanti Regional Chairman. Though Yoko insists that due process has been followed, Chairman Wontumi's lawyers have filed an application at the High Court to vary the bail conditions presented by Yoko. Here is a News Desk report.
The Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Bernard Entry-Boesiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, was arrested by the Economic and Organized Crime Office, triggering a political standoff. According to Deputy Attorney General Justice Ramsay, Chairman Wontumi was arrested to assist investigations for various criminal offenses, including fraud, causing financial loss to the states, and money laundering. But in a dramatic display, minority MPs marched to Yoko and sat on the floor, demanding Wontumi's release and decrying what they described as political persecution.
We are talking about democracy, and it's not about court. It's also about common sense and somebody being reasonable and thinking about tomorrow. I've said that posterity is watching. If something happened yesterday and it was wrong, if it happens today, it is wrong. If it happens tomorrow, it remains wrong. At a point, as a political class, let us put an end to that era of you do me, I do you, if that is the case.
The standoff took a new twist when former Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia visited the headquarters of Yoko, expressing deep disappointment over the inability of the MPP leadership to meet with the detained Ashanti Regional Chairman.
We are going to follow the due process, the legal process, to make sure that he's released as soon as possible. I want to plead with all of you to remain calm as we work behind the scenes to make sure that he is out. I believe that we will be successful, but we have to be calm and not take the law into our own hands. I think it's very important that we follow due process and make sure that Chairman Wontumi is released.
But the Economic and Organized Crime Office defended its handling of the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party.
I think that the institution has followed lay down processes. If you hear from the commentary, his legal representatives are telling you that due process has been followed. It's only those who are on the other side who don't know what really is happening who are making noise. I think that issues of human rights, we've grown as an institution, and human rights are an issue that we want to always respect. And so we afford them the opportunities that the law avails them, and we hope that they take advantage of that. He's been granted bail, I think, and then we're hoping that he can meet the terms of the bill.
Though lawyer of Bernard Enchiboisiakon, Andy Apiakubi, has confirmed a significant breakthrough in meeting the bail condition, an application has been filed at the High Court to vary the bail condition presented by Yoko.
Now we will get some reactions by the MPP, from the MPP on that issue shortly here on News Tonight. But away from that, the policy advisor at the office of the Vice President, Dr. Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, has called on municipal and district chief executives in the eastern region to harness local economic opportunities to drive the government's 24-hour economy policy. Speaking at a regional interface in Koforidua, Dr. Ofosu-Ampofo challenged the appointees to move beyond dependence on central government supports and take up the mantle as policy innovators within their districts. Kojo Ansah has more.
At a meeting of municipal and district chief executives in the Eastern region, the message was clear to appointees to think outside the box and harness local opportunities to operationalize the government's flagship 24-hour economy policy.
Reposition yourself and see what are the opportunities that are available within my municipality or district that I can leverage on to ensure that the 24-hour economy benefits our people. Again, look at the opportunities that are available to you in terms of development, because we have a huge unemployed youth who are looking for employment opportunities. Please, don't only rely on government policies, because you are also going there as a policy maker.
Dr. Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo reaffirmed the NDC's government's commitment to deepening decentralization. He announced that for the first time since 1992 Constitution, monthly allowances will be paid to assembly members following budgetary allocation.
On you to ensure that you design KPIs for the assembly members. When I say KPIs, what I mean is that key performance indicators, because to whom much is given, much is expected. When they were not being paid, they could give us excuses. But now that something is going to them at the end of every month, it behoves us to ensure that we create the enabling environment. We create a pathway that they can use to achieve maximum and optimum utilization of the resources that are placed in their hands.
The Eastern Regional Minister, Rita Akosua-Giawati, also encouraged MMDCEs to boost internally generated funds to finance local initiatives, urging them to modernize revenue collection systems and reduce leakages.
One of the most pressing issues we face at the local level is the over-reliance on central government funding. While these resources are vital, they are often limited and subject to national priorities and disbursement schedules. It is therefore imperative that we as local government leaders begin to shift our focus towards enhancing internally generated funds, IGF. I urge you, my honorable friends, to develop clear, realistic, innovative strategies for improving revenue mobilization within the jurisdictions.
GHOne TV and Star FM, Kojo Ansah.
Meanwhile, President John Dramani Mahama has disclosed that the government will soon release the first quarter allocation of the District Assembly's Common Fund. This comes after strong criticism from the minority, who accused the Finance Minister of intentionally delaying funds to key state institutions despite legal obligations and available resources. Speaking during his thank you tour of the Bono East region on Friday, the President warned that metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives who failed to make good use of the funds could be dismissed.
As we prepare Ghana's next medium-term development program, 2026 to 2029, I urge all our MMDCEs to take leadership in facilitating inclusive consultation. The Minister of Finance is about to release the first quarter of the District Assembly's Common Fund. And as I said, and the Minister said, 80% of the money accruing in the fund is going to go directly to the regions for you to decide how to use it. So MMDCEs, you have no excuse. You are going to get your full money. We're sending you the guidelines. Cabinet approved it at the last cabinet meeting to show you how the money has to be disbursed. And we're going to use it as your key performance indicators. Every year we will see what you've done with the District Assembly's Common Fund, and based on that we'll decide whether you stay or you go.
Let's stay on this issue a while longer and engage with the local governance expert, Dr. Richard Fiat-Domo, who is with the Chamber of Local Governance. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining us here on News Tonight. Well, first of all, what is your initial reaction of President Mahama's warning to MMDCEs regarding the use of the Common Fund?
Thank you very much, and greetings to our cherished viewers and listeners. For me, I think that this is coming from a proactive president who has made sure that the common fund that is supposed to go to the MMDAs are going to go appropriately. In the past, we realized that the DACF administrator was getting the funds. Instead of releasing it to the assemblies, they do central procurement and they rather procure for and on behalf of the assembly. So it did not allow the MMDAs to plan on their own what they should use their share of the common fund for. We also hear the president talk about the guideline that is going to be accompanying the funds that will be going to the assembly. We have also heard that 80% of the fund is going to go to the assembly. In the not too distant past, it was 49 and 50% that was going to the assembly. I can say on authority to viewers this evening that the whole of 2024, not even a single CD was even released to any assembly. So clearly, I do not see what the president is saying as a warning too much. It is just what the assemblies are supposed to do. The GHOne or the Common Fund is meant for developmental projects. So when you see what has been happening in the past, when the Auditor General report comes, you get to see that the assemblies misappropriate the GHOne, they misapply the GHOne and use it for items or things that they are not supposed to use it for. So clearly, once the president is saying that the GHOne will now become a KPI for the MMDCEs that have just been appointed, it only stands to reason that they will ensure that they will use the funds that have been allocated to them by way of the DACF according to the strict guidelines that will be accompanying it. And when that happens, in 2026, we will not be hearing about misapplication of funds, we will not be hearing misappropriation of funds coming from the Auditor General.
Right, so you describe it as a proactive step being taken by the president. And as you just touched on the Auditor General's reports and in previous years, the observation of misappropriation of funds at the district level, what exactly do you think accounts to this systemically? What do you think the issue is, and why do we always face that challenge as evidenced by the report?
Yeah, for me, one of the major reasons was the fact that the previous MMDCs were not getting the funds in a very timely manner. And because the assembly also has needs it has to attend to, sometimes when they get their IGF, instead of using it for the actual purpose for which the IGF has been generated, they end up using it for some of the things that the common fund should have done. Unfortunately, the common fund was not coming in a timely manner for them. So that was the reason why we saw what has been happening in the past, and the Auditor General has been talking about it. In 2025, entry 2026, if what the president said is to be believed and the funds are released in a very timely manner, we do not expect to be seeing misappropriation of funds in 2026 after the Auditor General has done the 2025 annual report. So for me, I think that was the major issue, because after the time the need arises, the funds are not available. So there are funds sitting in the account of the assembly for something else which has not arisen yet. Then because of that, the assemblies go and use that money to solve the current problem, awaiting the DACF or the money for it to be replaced, and the monies don't end up coming. But when the Auditor General comes, once the IGF was meant for it to pay allowances, once it was meant to do a capital project and it was not done, as far as the Auditor General is concerned, that money has been supplied. And the Auditor General is right, because that was not the purpose of the money. So what the President has said, even though it is a forward-looking and a proactive step, in my opinion, I think that it must also be accompanied by timeless releases of the common fund. And that is why in the local governance balance, we have what we say that funds follow functions. So once the funds are going to be available, the functions must also follow. And that is the reason why no chief executive will have any excuse. And if it's a KPI, then naturally it has to be met. If not, what the President has said that they will be removed can happen. So the chief executive do not have any excuse because the funds are now available. But Mr. President should not come and say this to us and the funds will not follow appropriately. Then it will be a challenge for the chief executive, and they can also not meet their KPI. And you cannot blame them if that is supposed to happen.
Dr. Richard Fiamodo, a pleasure having you this evening here on News Tonight. He's with the Chamber of Local Governance, joining us on that issue. In other news tonight, Minister of Trade and Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare, has cautioned 300 newly commissioned trading standards inspectors to be professional and view their actions as a service to the nation and not to intimidate manufacturers and traders. At the commissioning of the third cohort of trading standards inspectors, she disclosed that activities of the trading standards inspectors will help ensure fair trading practices, consumer protection, and promote government's 24-hour economy initiative.
The mandates of the 300 newly commissioned trading standards inspectors is to ensure sufficient consumer protection and to check the quality of goods on the market. At the event, Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare, cautioned the 300 newly commissioned trading standard inspectors to adhere to professional standards. She added that the activities of the inspectors will help promote the 24-hour economy policy to be launched on Tuesday, 3rd June 2025.
The training of more TSIs, we can resort to appropriate and internationally recognized ways of measurement to ensure fairness in our system. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as the government strives towards fulfilling the vision of a 24-hour economy, the importance of TSI cannot be overstated. A 24-hour economy demands a robust framework that supports reliable trade activities, and the TSI have a significant role in contributing to the realization of this vision by His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama.
Acting Director of the Inspectorate Division of the Ghana Standards Authority, Jessica Nkansa, emphasized that the Training Standards Inspectors was established in accordance with the GSA Act 2022, 2022 Act 1078, which underpins the national quality policy that places focus on market surveillance.
There's the need for a robust system that protects customers, ensures fair trade, and upholds the standards that safeguard public safety, public health, and confidence in our markets. The Act also underpins the national quality policy, which places focus on market surveillance, aligning with government's directions in relation to trade, taking into consideration all the current initiatives happening nationally, across Africa, internationally, and including the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreements.
The commissioning of the additional 300 inspectors aims to build on the accomplishment of the first and second cohorts, which includes the reduction in the circulation of substandard goods through surprise inspections and educational campaigns.
Let's turn to the health sector now. Mental health awareness continues to grow as various organizations step in to support those in need. One such initiative was undertaken by the One Project Africa Foundation, which brought warmth and hope to patients at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. Officials of the foundation donated varied items to the hospital as part of an extension of its core mandate of championing community development. There's more in this report.
The Accra Psychiatric Hospital a key mental health care facility serving people across the country, continues to grapple with challenges such as inadequate funding and limited resources, despite commendable efforts by its staff to deliver quality care. In a bid to support the facility, the One Project Africa Foundation has extended a helping hand. The foundation, led by its founder, Victoria Niema Abdullahi, made a donation and spent time with patients as part of its outreach program.
As part of our responsibility or our goals as an organization, it's important for us to liaise with institutions who share in our dreams and aspirations as an organization. And so we chose the Accra Psychiatric Hospital because a place where we find most of women who are vulnerable and some inmates who are also homeless. They have no families, and so we are standing in the gap as a family to provide healing and also to empower them in the little way that we can.
As part of the gesture, lunch was served to patients, with officials from the foundation spending quality time with women in the female ward.
In the first place, we are most grateful for the projects that they are doing up. And then as psychiatry hospital, we also benefit from their projects. We normally rely on society, benevolence like you, who give back to the society and then provide it to us. So we are most grateful for them. And then as Oliver, our cup is always half. So we want them to be coming to us more.
Officials of the Accra Psychiatric Hospital commended the foundation for its support in addressing an often overlooked but important aspects of healthcare.
In terms of stigma, what we are saying is that everybody at one point in time can be mentally sick. We say it's hereditary, but you can just have an accident and hit your head and you'll be here. So we are asking people not to stigmatize but show them love. And everybody in the house should also make it a point to at least show love in any small way to the inmates here so that they will also feel at home. Some having been home for a very long time. So you bringing food from home with those kind of packages give them excitement.
The One Project Africa Foundation is calling for sustained societal support and increased investment in mental health resources across the country to enhance care and treatments for individuals living with mental health conditions.
The Coalition for Menstrual Health and Citizen Empowerment, in partnership with Action Aid and the Young Urban Women Movement, has made an urgent appeal to government and educational authorities to provide basic schools with proper sanitary facilities. The call comes amid growing concern about the lack of changing rooms, toilets, clean water and waste disposal systems in schools across the Ahafo region.
The 2025 World Menstrual Hygiene Day was marked in Fidium in the Asutifi South District with a strong call to action. At the center of this year's observance was a demand to prioritize the provision of sanitary facilities in basic schools to improve menstrual hygiene and reduce school absenteeism among girls. Executive Director of the Citizen Empowerment Movement, Mohammed Salami, expressed regret over the lack of fundamental amenities needed for girls to manage their menstruation with dignity in basic schools.
It is our responsibility as Ghanaians, as the government of the day, to ensure these things are provided. And it must be a policy of the state to ensure that that is achieved.
Ahafo Regional Girl Child Coordinator Scholastica Dakura echoed the call, noting that between 80 and 85% of schools still lack basic menstrual hygiene infrastructure.
Some don't even have toilets and washroom, so we are appealing to the assemblies to provide the schools with changing facilities, with toilets, with urinal rooms, so that our girls' confidence will be boosted.
President of the Young Urban Women Movement, Matilda Asari, stressed the need to empower women through education and leadership.
Ministers, MPs, managers.
A student leader, Aisha Nuhu, decried the practice of teachers and pupils sharing the same washrooms.
This is really hurting them because sometimes some students wanted to go and change, and when they get there, maybe the guys are around and they can't even ask them to leave the place. They can't also change their sanitary pads and stuff.
The Jantua Hima of Kenyasi number 1, Nana Iachiro, called on female teachers to be role models and help maintain cleanliness in school environments. Sanitary pads were distributed to schoolgirls at the event.
In other news this evening, Savannah Regional Minister Salisu Be Aruribe is urging Diamond Cement Company in Bupe to review and reduce cement prices, citing a drop in production cost. His call comes amid growing concerns over the high cost of building materials, which continues to burden homeowners and the construction industry.
Speaking during a working visit to the factory on Thursday, the minister highlighted the recent appreciation of the Ghanaian cedi against major international currencies. According to him, the stronger currency has significantly reduced import-related costs, including raw materials, transport, and energy used in cement production.
We've again interacted with them, and we are making an encouragement and appeal to them to reduce their prices of cement, knowing the good wind which is actually blowing through on the citadel of the better Ghana resetting the nation. The prices of the dollar is actually coming down, and the city is gaining strength. And the production of cement, from what we can see and what they have told us, is principally local material used to produce that product. And therefore, if the prices go down, being a major market player in the north, when they reduce their prices, of course, other people will also be compelled to reduce their prices, and our people will be the major beneficiary.
The minister also stopped by the Bupe Shea Processing Company, which has been closed for over 17 months. Once a thriving facility processing shea nuts into finished products, the plant has since folded, leaving equipment idle and workers displaced.
Which is the explosive site area, where we are giving strong instructions to them to urgently liaise with the Ghana Police Service and provide a 24-hour police protection of the high explosives which are there. We all know the incidents of some operatives, some explosives, when it happened in some other parts, and we can't wait until we actually get another situation of that sort.
His visits forms part of efforts to boost industrial growth, promote fair labor conditions, and attract investment across the Savannah region.
A year after relocating to a newly built market in Iron City, some traders are expressing frustration over poor patronage and what they describe as neglect by authorities. Despite the availability of modern stalls and a clean trading environment, many shops remain empty as customers continue to patronize roadside vendors and nearby shops. Some traders spoke to my colleague Kwabena Ejekum Banahene, and they had this to say.
I'm here at Iron City within the Autu Senior East Municipality, where a beautiful edifice of a market square has been built and handed over to traders who were recently evicted from the pavement and the roads in Kaswa. According to the assembly, this market square can contain over 1,000 traders.
The challenges in the adults baby. We say omo betadia omo so ton bi mtimi twem stores na bembe amakoto. We say omo say omo ndo mbo na omo brasi. I say no obeta e be come.
Some of us are still here hoping say marketing be yi. We are still here and all of us the capitals at the start will be anywhere. It's like other super. It's like he losing a PVC, hoping because other markets are already choked, so we're hoping others will come. So now that we are still hoping others come.
Omuna mrana kaumba kaya huan kaya nsi yani beji. Yes, perifono so say omusie sia so nka mmai. Na eha enya kono. So omunyina ba eba yani beji ho pa. So say edwa kama na yesia ma ya to ties ni bibia wo. Nti omumra, omubebe boa.
You can see it's an empty market. A few traders are here to do their business. So the name remains Eric Pabna Ajikumbanahini.
Watching news tonight here on GHOne TV. And some more news this evening. The Sunyani Municipal Assembly has begun implementing urgent measures to decongest the city's central business district amid growing concerns over congestion, poor sanitation and flood risks. With the area experiencing rapid population growth, authorities say a coordinated strategy involving multiple agencies is now underway to restore order and improve urban resilience.
The bustling streets of Sunyani's central business district may soon see some relief. The Sunyani Municipal Assembly has rolled out an aggressive decongestion plan to address the growing pressure on infrastructure, sanitation, and drainage systems caused by the municipality's expanding population. Municipal Chief Executive Vincent Entry Ajay, in an exclusive interview, said stakeholder engagements are underway with market women, traders, and shop owners to ensure their exercise is peaceful and inclusive.
The Assembly can't automatically or suddenly just get into town with our task force and start pushing people around, removing things and gathering things and seizing them at the Assembly here. So the first thing that we have started to do is to do that.
The MCE revealed that detailed short and long-term reports from key agencies like the EPA, NADMO, and the Town and Country Planning Department are expected within a month to guide drainage and flood risk interventions. In a bid to improve sanitation, the Assembly is partnering with Zoom Lion Ghana Limited to procure tools such as booms, rakes, headpans, and waste bins to begin monthly cleanup campaigns.
God willing, and if nothing happens, every first Saturday of every month, we will have a mega cleanup exercise in Sunyani here.
On the streets, some pedestrians welcomed the initiative, saying congestion and unregulated trading continue to compromise safety and access. However, hawkers and traders expressed frustration, calling for a transparent and fair relocation process. Others dismissed the Assembly's claims that enough stalls are available within the main market. It remains to be seen whether the Sunyani Municipal Assembly's promise translates into last.
Let's turn to the tech sector now, as Africa's stories are often told by others, but a new initiative is flipping the script. The Africa Wiki Challenge, spearheaded by Open Foundation West Africa, is for Africans to tell their own stories by contributing content to one of the world's most visited websites, Wikipedia.
Efforts to promote African content on the internet, the African Foundation West Africa has launched the Africa Wiki Challenge, aimed at enhancing the representation and coverage of African content on Wikipedia. At the media launch of this year's challenge, the director of the Open Foundation West Africa, Jael Sewa Boateng, encouraged Ghanaians to actively participate in the initiative to help project a positive image of Africa to the world.
The Africa Wiki Challenge is our flagship that we began 5 years ago in our bid to generate more content online. Because as I mentioned during my panel discussion, we have 2.69% of overall content on Wikipedia being about Africa. And so in our bid to bridge that gap, we initiated this campaign.
A professor at the University of Ghana, Chika Mba, also addressed the gathering. He stressed the importance of breaking down artificial barriers across the continent to allow for free movement of goods and services between African countries.
The importance of pursuing things or enjoying, because I said, let's do the one that is simple among us as young people. How do we make our country, our continent move in the direction we want? Maybe at the macro level, you can't really influence policy as of now. You can't tell the government what to do or what not to do. But at your own level, I would like.
It's still live here on News Tonight on GHOne TV. We bring you business news next. In business this evening, the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies is projecting a decline in the prices of petrol, diesel and liquefied petroleum gas LPG at fuel stations across the country. According to the chamber, prices are expected to drop between 3.6% and 7.5% for petrol, 4.2% to 7.8% for diesel, and 3.1% to 6.3% for LPG during the first pricing window of June 2025. The anticipated reductions are largely attributed to falling petroleum product prices on the international market, coupled with the recent appreciation of the Ghanaian cedi against the US dollar. However, the chamber also noted that international product prices have risen for the second time this year following a surge in crude oil prices. In recent trends, petrol increased by 2.53%, LPG by 1.35%, and diesel recorded the highest jump as 3.07%. Despite these global trends, consumers in Ghana are expected to benefit from temporary relief at the pumps. A recent announcement of a 15% reduction in transportation fares has sparked controversy in the Bono region. While passengers are pleased with the directive, several commercial drivers say it is unrealistic.
A government-initiated 15% reduction in transport fares has stirred division among transport operators and commuters in Sunyani and other parts of the Bono region. The Ministry of Transport, in collaboration with transport unions, announced the cuts as part of efforts to cushion the public following recent reductions in fuel prices. But while some passengers welcomed the decision, many commercial drivers expressed dissatisfaction, claiming the reduction is not economically viable.
Now, because of 50 pesos, they burn only 50 pesos.
Some drivers accused their unions of failing to consult them before agreeing to the directive. They called for greater transparency and direct involvement in fare setting decisions.
Motor union say, "O person we one." I was saying we need now on crop for no me no Asia. And Sana, Ubaya Bibia, why there? Why?
Nanka representative Bibia, no, so mechanic how to send a mobile mobile, Abian Asia, the Becan how. And she said, Ben, I buy Yakom magazine. Aqua cancer, Abia, shop to shop. Monsomun Modian, so
you're near money at this way, but this Kaketwana, you're a dear body. Tear yet this lady and can hang, now so penning for, yes, Romo. Among Shama, Montetin Yaman Susi, said the year tear face.
Responding to the concerns, Bono Regional Secretary of the GPRTU, Ajin Frimpong, acknowledged the challenges but insists the union advocated for the interest of its members.
A driver for no yebesrewo no manya abotre ama yempenimfo no sentine say ye die wi a akwanya wo ho say yempenimfo no so ne Ministry of Transport and other organizations no be shia na spare passer esese almost tiso any niema ekeka ho na eboa ema driver for so adwuma etimi eye wano no almost ye.
As tensions simmer, the question remains whether the policy will bring lasting relief or further strain relationships in Ghana's transport sector.
The senior lecturer at the University of Energy and Natural Resources, Dr. Paul Ejay, has warned that without sustained policy measures, the city's recent gains could be short-lived, putting investor confidence in economic growth at risk.
As Ghana's local currency begins to recover after years of depreciation, calls are mounting for the government to act decisively to sustain the cedi's newfound stability. Speaking to the media, economist and senior lecturer at the University of Energy and Natural Resources, Dr. Paul Ejay Kwakwa said the current appreciation of the cedi is encouraging but fragile.
We need to take lessons from this. Now Ghanaians are happy. Ghanaians are praising the government. But if you are not able to sustain it, then that will make the government unpopular. It is not about staying in power.
Dr. Kwakwa attributed the recent stability to a combination of local and international factors, including tighter government spending, Bank of Ghana interventions, and global economic trends.
So it is important for us as a country to discipline ourselves financially so that we can have a sustainable debt. If we're able to manage our debt in a sustainable manner, I think we should be able to maintain the strength of the currency.
He cautioned, however, that a stronger cedi could reduce the government revenue from dollar-linked export and import taxes, which could widen fiscal gaps if not managed properly.
It is estimated the country will export for us to get some foreign exchange. Now that the exchange rate has lowered, what it means is that the final amount the government will receive from such export activities would also come down.
He called on the government to use this window of opportunity to invest in industrialization and build a more resilient economy that can withstand global economic shock.
Let's turn to the agricultural sector now with a focus on cocoa, as President John Dramani Mahama has announced that the government, through Cocoa Board, will announce a new producer price for cocoa in August of this year, promising it will be a very good price to reward their hard work and dedication. Speaking during a Durbar of chiefs and people as part of his Ahafo regional thank you tour in Goso, the president reaffirmed his commitments to revive what he described as a collapsed cocoa industry to improve the livelihoods of farmers and strengthen the sector.
Plans are underway to revamp the collapsed cocoa sector. Incentives will be provided to our hard-working farmers to increase cocoa production. We aim to add 200,000 hectares of cocoa to Ghana's outputs in order to increase income of our farmers. And to cocoa farmers, the Cocoa Board Chief Executive has informed me that in August they will announce the new cocoa producer price. And I can assure you the price is going to be a very, very, very good price. So those of you who don't have cocoa farms, go and start looking for land and start planting cocoa.
Well, that's all the business news this evening. Lots more business news on our website, starfm.com.gh. Stay with us on News Tonight. We bring you more news shortly. Welcome back to News Tonight. In sports news this evening, Techiman 11 Wonders have secured qualifications into the Ghana Premier League after beating RTU 2-1 at the Accra Sports Stadium in the Division 1 playoffs final on Friday. 11 Wonders scored the first goal in the 14th minute through Frank Avre before RTU equalized via a 75th penalty by Bala Bayman. Wonders, however, had the final say in the 90th minute when they were awarded a penalty after a handball in the penalty area of RTU. Frank Amiao expertly converted the penalty to give the Techiman-based side the win and a return to the Premier League. Coach of Wonders, David Naba, couldn't hide his joy after bringing his side back to the league.
I feel so excited, and I feel more motivated from day one of the season. After doing my Justifier, getting the players and then the kind of pre-season that I wanted to do, I assured the management that no matter even if we were to meet a protocol, house or nation we will qualify because of the kind of player that we have and the tactical setup that I was able to get with the boys to understand the level of football that I wanted them to play. From the onset, we knew that we would qualify. And so I thank God for what he has done for us. What we made our venue is a Lion's Den. And now we are going to go back, beef our squad a bit, and prepare. What we need a little bit of technicality, in our game. That is, I think, our creative players, 8, 6, and 10. Today they played, and most of them were a bit relaxed. But we'll prepare them. We're going to play a high.
Meanwhile, Safianu Osman, captain of Hohoa United, who have also secured their qualifications to the Premier League, says their final game against Olympics won't be different from their previous ones.
We are just going to use our normal squad. We are not putting anyone down, and we are not relaxing until the end. So we are pushing, and we have to push hard. When we started, and we need to end with the same squad. So we have to end the league well. Expect more. I'm going to prove them wrong, and what? At least the skills and the zeal I have to showcase and show to the whole Ghanaians. So I have to thank them too as well for supporting us. So we are in Ghana Premier League. So thank you everyone.
In some more sports news, the Black Stars of Ghana have won bronze in the 2025 Unity Cup Games after beating Trinidad and Tobago in the third match this afternoon. Captain Jordan Ayew scored first in the 6th minute. FC's Razak Simpson and debutant Mohamed Fusaini scored later in the first half. Lawrence Ejekum added the 4th goal in the second half to give the Stars the win after their semi-final defeat to Nigeria. The Stars will now leave camp and regroup next month for some international friendlies. Well, that's it for the sports news this evening. We bring you entertainment news next. In E-Zone tonight, Ghanaian songstress Jackie is set to release her first ever album since her music career began. Jackie is well known for her Afrofusion music style and has expressed excitement towards the much anticipated album. Revealing this on GH Today, Jackie also lauded her team for the support over the years.
Is geared towards the album, my first album ever in my entire existence. Only dropped 2 EPs.
Okay.
Yeah, the first EP had Forever, the second EP had Something. Yeah, so this is my first album, and we've been working on it for 3 years. I've said it everywhere. I'm saying it again because it was a lot of hassle. So we're working on it for 3 years. The album is coming this year. Sankofa is on the album, so it's like the first song that we're dropping on there. Expect more. There's a lot of collaborations on the album, so just stay glued to my social media pages. Every other announcement around the album will be posted. I'm so excited, and I'm proud of the songs on the project so much that I'm eager to start playing it on the streaming platform. Like, I want to be playing it. I'm tired of playing it from my files and listening to it alone, because I know the people are going to enjoy it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, away from that, we bring you international news next. On the international front, Hamas has agreed to release 10 living hostages and 18 bodies in its response to the US-Gaza ceasefire proposal. The group says under the deal, Israel would release a number of Palestinian prisoners, but Israel is yet to respond. Earlier this week, the White House said Israel had signed off on Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff's plan. Israel imposed a total blockade on Gaza and resumed its military offensive against Hamas on 18th March, collapsing a 2-month ceasefire brokered by the US, Qatar and Egypt. The country launched a military campaign in Gaza in response to Hamas's cross-border attack on October 7, 2023, in which about 1,200 people were killed and 251 others were taken hostage. At least 54,381 people have been killed in Gaza during the war, according to territory's Hamas-run health ministry. Away from the international fronts, bring you a local story as Deputy Director of Monitoring and Supervision at the Ghana Education Service, GES, in Ewutu Senya West, Emma Asabia, is calling on the government to prioritize investment in STEM education at the basic level. She believes the traditional methods used to teach mathematics, science and engineering have discouraged many students from developing interest in these critical subjects. Her remarks were made during the inaugural HPW Exploratory STEM program for basic school pupils in the Ewutu Senya West District.
In an inspiring showcase of young minds and creativity, students from local government schools from Adesu and its environs at Ewutu Senya West in the eastern region came together to participate in a design challenge exhibition themed STEM in Action, exploring innovation for community development. The event highlighted the pivotal role of science, technology, engineering and mathematics in addressing community challenges. Organized by HPW Exploratory in collaboration with the Ghana Education Service, the STEM exhibition featured practical innovations designed by Basic 7 to Basic 9 students, which ranged from eco-friendly water purification systems to solar-powered machines to smart traffic lights, all aimed at solving real-life problems in their communities from locally sourced materials.
To drop, as you see, now as you can see, the pedestrians are crossing the road.
A large chamber will store the purified water for us, and this purified water can be used for other activities.
Deputy Director at GES in Ewutu Senya West, Emma Asabia, urged the government to invest in STEM education at the basic level, noting that outdated teaching methods have dampened students' interest in STEM.
Science is meant to be practical, but because the resources are not there, teachers teach, they lecture without the resources, and students miss the practical aspects, making the teaching of science boring and unattractive.
The standout team from the competition, Adesu SDA, emerged first and shared their excitement over the victory. Their teacher also used the opportunity to urge the government to support STEM teaching and learning in basic schools.
The Teslas, the Elon Musk, they didn't start at the tertiary level. I believe they started right from the basic level. So I will call on the government to take STEM education very seriously at the basic level. So by the time they get to the secondary school, they are already on the sound footing and they are ready to take off.
We are very elated and very excited because it has been a while for us preparing these projects and waiting for this final day. Of course, we are very happy.
Programs Manager of the HPW Exploratory STEM program, Christian Saki Akwa, explained that the competition was organized in rural communities to help break the STEM education gap. He also appealed to investors to support the initiative, describing it as a worthy cause.
There is a wave around, practical education. Every now and then we hear people implementing STEM programs all over. But the question we always have to ask ourselves is, do students in rural communities also have equal access to some of these resources? HPW has shown that investing in education is very rewarding, and so we call on all other corporate organizations to come and support our programs. If you operate in a rural community, invite us, and we are happy to bring our programs to those communities.
The STEM in Action exhibition not only fostered innovation but also strengthened community school partnerships. It's clear that Ghana's future lies in the hands of these innovative young minds who are already demonstrating their ability to think globally and act locally.
And that is how we draw the curtains here on News Tonight on GHOne TV. Many thanks to you for watching. From the producer, Obed King Gaglo, and Akuoko Rosemond, and the director, the entire team, we say thank you for watching News Tonight this evening. I'm Natalie Fort. Have a restful night.